Welcome to this instructional webinar on applying for unemployment insurance. The information and screens that I will be sharing with you covers the most common scenarios. However, depending on how you answer the questions, you may be presented with additional screens or questions. When you apply, please read each question carefully. Topics we'll be covering are how to file an unemployment insurance claim for those that have worked in Washington State, and also for those that have worked in Washington State plus another state, recently released from the military, or if you work for the federal government. Our screens may change from time to time, but the concepts will still apply. Please read each question carefully. We also encourage you to always check our website at esd.wa.gov for the most up-to-date information. When you do apply, some things you'll need are logged in and on the internet. You'll need to have created a Secure Access Washington account, also known as a SAW account. When you do that, you'll need to have access to your email. You'll need to have your Social Security number, your address, and your date of birth. If you have a Washington driver's license or a Washington ID card, you'll need to have that to enter information into our system. You'll need all your employment information for the past 18 months. This needs to include your names of employers, their addresses, and dates of employment. If you would like to receive your benefits via the direct deposit, you'll need to have your bank routing and account numbers. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you'll need to have your permanent residence or authorization to work permit. Let's talk a little bit about when your claim should start. The key thing is don't delay. Start your claim as soon as you're no longer working or when your hours have been reduced. The start date of your claim must always be a Sunday. I have a couple examples here because you have some options that are available to you. In example 1 is if your last day of work was late in the week, in this example, October 15th through the 17th of 2020, then it may make sense to start your claim on that following Sunday, on October 18th. However, in example 2, if your last day of work is early in the week, such as November 1st through the 4th of 2020, then it may make sense to have your claim start on that week, which is Sunday, November 1st. When you do select a claim start date, you can backdate it. However, it is important to know that if you do request to backdate your claim, then we will have to make a formal decision to allow or deny your benefits. This could delay the start of you receiving your benefits. Another thing I'd like to share with you is what is your base year? The base year is the 12-month period of time that we use to determine if you are eligible for unemployment, and if you are, how much you would receive each week. Your base year will be the first 4 of the last 5 completed quarters. For example, if you're going to file for unemployment between October and December of 2020, then your base year will be July 2019 through June of 2020. That will be the period of time that will be used to determine whether you are eligible and how much your benefits will be. If you would like to calculate how much your benefits might be, then on our website, you could click on the link that says Calculate Your Benefit. Now, what are your work search requirements? Well, it depends on the individual circumstances. Normally, it is a requirement to make at least 3 work search contacts each week. However, there are some things that could change that. That is, if you are on standby, meaning that you expect to return to work for the same employer in the near future. Your work search could also change if you belong to a full referral union hall, and that's how you find your work. If you've been approved for training, then your work search could be different. And if you're receiving any sort of extended benefits or additional unemployment programs, then your work search criteria may change as well. We encourage you to check our website at esd.wa.gov for the correct guidance. We also encourage you to use our WorkSource office for help with reemployment and retraining needs. Now let's jump right into the process of applying for unemployment. To do so, you'll need to log in on our website at esd.wa.gov. There should be a link for New to Unemployment or Start Here. Click on that Start Here link. You may have to scroll down to find a link that says Apply Online Now. When you find that link, click on that Apply Online Now link. As I mentioned earlier, to apply for unemployment benefits, you'll need to have a Secure Access Washington account. If you do not have one, when you get to the login screen, at the top there will be a link to get some support. Click on that link and it will take you to some additional page that will give you information on how to create a Secure Access Washington account. There is a video there that you could walk through to be prepared to establish that account. That will help create that account for you. Now, once you've created that account, then when you're at the Sign In for eServices screen, then you'll just need to enter your username and password and then click on the Sign In link. That will take you into our eServices. Now, under the heading For Yourself, Apply for Unemployment Benefits or Manage Your Current and Past Claims, click on that link. This will take you to your Claimant eServices landing page. Under the I Want To section on the right-hand side, there is a link that says Submit an Application. Click on that link. This begins the process of applying for unemployment insurance benefits. Before I go into those in detail, just want to mention the navigational aspect of our system. All of our screens should be very similar. In the lower left-hand corner, there's going to be a Save button. In the middle of a process, if you would like to save your work and come back to it later, or save it just in case you get disconnected from the internet, then click on that Save button. That will allow you to come back in and finish it later. It's important to note, though, that it will only be saved through that Saturday evening. After that, you'll need to start over. Also in the lower left-hand corner is a Cancel button. At any time throughout this process, if you want to cancel the application, just click that Cancel button and that will take you out. Now, when you hit the Cancel button, and if you do need to come back in and start again, you'll have to start all over. Now, in the lower right-hand corners, there's two buttons. The Next button will take you to the next screen in the process. Once you've started the process, your previous button will be activated. That will allow you to go back to the previous question if you need to go back and answer the question differently. All of our screens will be very similar. These first few screens, you'll need to read through them. They give you additional information about applying for benefits and what you'll need, some of the requirements that you'll need to be familiar with. And then you'll get to a page where you either need to agree or disagree with those requirements. To continue moving forward, you must agree. So once you've read and understand those, and if you do wish to continue, then click on the I agree, continue with application button, and then click Next. This screen will start the entering of your information. We'll need to enter your identity information. We'll need your Social Security number, your date of birth, and your first and last name as it appears on your Social Security card. Then you'll be presented with three questions. One is if you've used any other name, such as a maiden name. if you prefer to use a nickname, and if you are a U.S. citizen or an American national. Answer those 3 questions. If you answer, depending on how you answer those questions, you may be presented with additional questions. For example, if you are not a U.S. citizen and you answer this question no, it will then ask you additional questions about your authorization to work in the United States. Once you have these questions answered, then click the next button. If you have a Washington driver's license or an ID card, this is where that information is necessary. You'll need to enter in your license or ID number. You'll need to enter the date it was issued, the expiration date, and you'll need to enter your height in feet and inches as it is printed on your ID card or your driver's license. If you do not have a Washington driver's license or ID card, then you can answer this question no. Once you have entered the information, just click the next button. The next set of questions will help us determine what type of unemployment claim you qualify for. When you answer these questions, if you answer any of them yes, you will be presented with additional questions. The first question is, have you applied for or are you receiving unemployment benefits from any other state than Washington in the last 12 months? Have you been unable to work for 13 or more consecutive weeks due to an injury or illness? Did you work for the federal government in the last 18 months? Did you separate from active duty military service in the last 18 months? And have you worked in any other state than Washington in the last 18 months? Again, if you've answered any of these questions yes, you will be presented with additional questions asking some information about that specific circumstance. Here's where it's asking about your claim start date. When you apply, it will ask you, are you applying for benefits this week? So your claim start date is, in this example only, November 22nd, 2020. Is this a date you want your claim to start? If it is, you just answer yes and go on to the next screen. However, if you want to backdate that claim and start it at a previous date, then you answer this question no, and it will be presented a drop-down calendar for you to identify the Sunday that you want it to start, and then it'll ask you to confirm that. Once you have identified that date, just click the next button. Do you currently have an anti-harassment order in place for your protection? Normally, you will know this if you do. This could be a protection order or something of that nature. If you do, answer yes. If you do not, answer no, and then click next. Now we need to get some contact information from you. Enter your mailing address. Once you enter your mailing address, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a blue link that says, please confirm this address. Click on that link. It will open up another window, and it says, click here to verify your address. Click on that link, and it will present the address that you entered, as well as a post office recognized address. Take a look at those addresses and select the address that you think is the most appropriate. Whenever possible, we encourage you to use the post office recognized address. Once you have identified that address, then click OK. Once it takes you back to the screen, just answer those additional questions. One thing to point out is, how do you want to receive important correspondence from us? You have 2 options. You can log into your eServices account and get your notifications from us electronically. If you wish to use that option, then select Send by eServices. The other option is U.S. Postal Mail. If you want to get correspondence from us via the U.S. mail system, then click U.S. Mail, and then we will mail you through the postal system our correspondence. And below there, then emails and phone numbers, and if we may leave you a detailed voicemail message. Answer those questions, and once you're done, click Next. Now we need to get some personal information from you. The first two questions there, answer those, and then below the gold box bar there, then answer those questions. One of the answers, if you do not wish to answer it, is do not want to answer. So you need to answer those questions as appropriate. And once you have, then hit the next button. At this point, it's going to present you with any work history that you have in Washington State. If you do not have any work history in Washington State, or if it does not recognize anything, then it will ask you if you did work in Washington. So if you have employers that are not listed here and they are in Washington and you need to find them, then click the Yes button. That'll take you through the process of searching and locating the employer. Click on the link that says Search for my Washington employer. And then there is a search box. Enter either the name, the address, or the employer's ID, and then hit the search button. It will give you a list of results. Find the appropriate one, and once you do, click the OK button. It will take you back to the employment history page. At this point, you'll need to enter the date you started working for this employer and the date you last physically worked for this employer. And then it's going to ask you, why did you separate for this employer? It's going to give you a drop-down list of options to choose from. Look through that list and find the appropriate one. I want to point out, laid off, in our terminology, is the same thing as lack of work, furlough, or if your employer said you were going to be on standby. If any of those fit, then check lack of work or laid off. Then it's going to ask you to give us additional information about that separation. Again, this has a drop-down menu, so choose the option that fits your situation best. If you've chosen laid off and you do not find a situation that fits best, then you could choose other reason not listed. Then continue answering those questions that are presented to you. Was your separation date the same day as your last day of work? Normally this is going to be yes. However, if your last day of work is on one day, but they paid you until a later day, then you'll need to answer this no and give us that last day that you were paid. Have you applied for or are receiving retirement pay from this employer? This question pertains to this employer only, and this is if you have applied or are receiving money or retirement pay from this employer. Now, many of us contribute to a retirement plan. That's not what this means. This is if you are receiving money from that employer or from their retirement plan. If you are, answer that yes. If you have not, then answer that no. And then it's going to ask you to provide your gross income before any deductions or taxes. So enter either your hour, weekly, monthly, or yearly pay in those boxes. And then on average, how many hours a week did you work? If you normally work full-time, then you could enter 40. Anything less than that, then go ahead and enter that number as appropriate. Once you enter that information, then just click Next, and you'll go on to either the next employer, or if that was your last employer or only employer, it'll ask if you work for any other Washington employer. If you have, then check yes, and it'll take you through the process to search for them. If you haven't, then just click No and Next. Then it will give you a summary of all the employment information we have for you during that 12-month period of time, that base year. Take a look at this. It shows for each quarter how many hours and wages you had. Take a look and see if it appears to be accurate. If it does, good, continue with your application. If it doesn't, continue on, and then you'll need to notify us and tell us about any discrepancies. Otherwise, just click Next. Now we need to know what your occupation is. So click on that Search Occupation button, and then on the left-hand side, enter a job title or a phrase, and then click Search. It will pull up a list of possible matches. If you click on any one of those, that will give you a brief description down below of what the job responsibilities are. Just search through those and find the most appropriate one for your occupation. Once you find that most appropriate one, then just click on OK. Then it's going to ask you if you're going to continue to look for work in this occupation. If you are, say yes. If you are not, then say no, and then it will ask you what occupation you'll be looking for work in. Once you identified that, then just hit next. Did you get your work through a union, dispatch, or referral list? And have you applied for, or are you receiving union retirement pay? This will apply to those that belong to a full referral union, like Teamsters or some electrical contractors, things like that, that you actually pay union dues. You find work through the union hall. If you do, then hit yes and enter that information. Otherwise, hit no and then next. The next question is going to ask you about standby. Now, standby is an option for you to sign up for if your employer expects you to go to work for them in the near future. Now, requesting standby is not necessary if work search is optional for you. In other words, if you are a full referral union member, you do not need to request standby. If you do wish to request standby, then click on yes, and then it's going to ask additional information about when you expect to return to work. It is important that you read the screen carefully and provide the information completely. Once you have, then just hit next. Are you currently attending school or a training program? If you are, hit yes, and it will ask you additional information. And then it will also send you a questionnaire to complete about your schooling or training program. Or if you are not, then click no. Or if you're not currently attending school, click no. Are you physically able to work and available for work? Now, being able and available means that you can go to work if called, if your employer had employment for you, and that there are no personal barriers to you returning to work. If that fits your situation, you'll want to say yes, you are physically able and available for work. Otherwise, if you say no, then you'll be presented with additional questions, and we'll send you a questionnaire to ask information about why you may not be physically able and available for work. You'll need to complete that and return that to us before the deadline on the letter. Once you've answered this question, just hit next. Now we're going to ask you if you want us to withhold federal taxes from your unemployment benefits. Unemployment benefits are taxable. We can withhold 10% of your benefits each week if you wish. This is a personal choice. If you wish to have us withhold 10%, then just answer this question yes. If you do not wish us to, then answer this question no. However, just keep in mind that you are responsible for taxes on the benefits paid to you. So either withhold them now or report them at the end of the year when you do your taxes and deal with it at that time. Once you've answered that question, hit next. You have two options of how you may receive unemployment insurance benefits. You can receive them via a debit card or direct deposit. If you wish to receive them via a debit card, within 7 to 10 days, you will receive a debit card from KeyBank. You do not need to be a member of KeyBank to be able to use this. If you click on the debit card and that's how you wish to receive your benefits, read through that questionnaire and informational sheet to make sure you're familiar with that. Normally, there are no fees in using this, and you could use it anywhere a MasterCard can be used. But read through that, and it'll talk about any fees or replacement cost, things like that. Now, if you wish to receive your benefits via direct deposit, we can deposit your benefits right into the account that you have identified. If you select that, then you'll need to give us permission to deposit into your account. You'll need to provide the account type, the routing number, and the account number to us. Now, this is something that our staff on the phones cannot assist you with. We cannot take your bank information. You'll need to enter it through our secure website information. Once you have identified how you want to receive your benefits, then you'll be presented with a summary screen. Now, it's very important that you look this over and be confident what you've entered is accurate before you move forward. This is the last screen before you submit your application. Read over the screen, and if you want to edit any portion of it, on the right-hand side, there's an edit button for each section. If there is a section that you need to modify, then just click on the edit button, go in and modify it, and you'll work your way back to the summary screen again. Once you are confident that the screen is accurate and you are ready to submit it, then just hit the next button. That will take you to the Submit Application button. This is the last place that you can stop before you submit your application. Once you've submitted it, it's going to be in our system, and we are the only ones. You'll need to contact an unemployment agent if any changes or any corrections need to be made. But once you're satisfied, click Submit. It will give you a confirmation page and confirmation number. Read through that, and once you have, then click on the Home button in the top left-hand corner. That will take you back into your eServices account. Now, this is very similar from when you started to apply. However, now that you have a claim, it looks a little bit different. In the lower left-hand corner, this box shows your active claim. It will also show the date your claim started, the ending date, which is going to be a 12-month period of time. A claim is in our system for 12 months. You have 12 months to use the benefits that have been identified for you. Now, the benefits do not last for 12 months. They normally last between 20 and 26 weeks. The screen will also show you what your weekly benefit amount is. And if you backdated your claim, then you may have a link that says you have a UI weekly claim to file. But if you do qualify and have worked enough in your base year, you should get a screen that looks very similar to this. A couple things to point out is when you're in there, there is a link across the horizontal bar there. There's several links there. One that I want to point out is notices and letters. It's going to be important that you watch the notices and letters, and even initially after you file your claim. If you'll notice under unread notices, there's a link that says your benefit rights and responsibilities. That is very important for you to read. So I encourage you to read that, open that, and read that as soon as you have filed your unemployment claim. Here's an example of your presentation of benefit rights. It tells you some very specific information about your claim, the number to call if you have any questions, how to file your weekly claims, when to file your weekly claims, and some additional information. So make sure you read through this and be familiar with those rules and requirements. Once you have, then just click on the Home button in the top left-hand corner. You'll notice that's where the Home button is all the time. You could also come back into your eService account and do things at a later date. For example, if you need to come in later and request standby, you can come in here, click on that link under I want to. It says request standby, and it will take you through the process of requesting standby. Now, if you've applied, and in that lower left-hand corner under Manage My Active UI Claim, if your claim indicates that you are ineligible, you should determine why to see if there are any other options available to you. It could be that we don't have any hours or earnings reported for you. There could be that you didn't have enough work in Washington, but you have work in another state that we need to combine. There could be a variety of reasons. So if you do get that and you're surprised at that, then check with us, call us, or research to find out why that you may have been determined ineligible. So when do you file your claim, your weekly claim? You need to file your weekly claim every week that you wish to receive benefits, and you file after the week is over. We prefer that you file on every Sunday, but you actually have Sunday through Saturday after the week is over to file. The example on the screen here is if your claim started on August 30th, that Sunday, the weekly claim for that week needs to be submitted anytime between September 6th and the 12th. And you'll need to submit a weekly claim every week that you wish to receive benefits after the week is over. You can submit your weekly claim using two different options. You can go into your eServices account and click on that link that says you have a UI weekly claim to file, and it will walk you through about 10 questions to submit your weekly claim. You also can do that over our automated phone system at 1-800-318-6022, and you can answer those weekly claim questions over the phone through an automated system. Now, if you use our eServices, you could use that Sunday through Saturday to file your weekly claim. However, if you use our phone system, you could only use that phone system Sunday through the last business day of that week, which is normally Friday. But that last business day at 4 p.m. is the cutoff time to be able to use the phone system to file your weekly claims. Now, here are some common questions that we get that I just want to go over with you. Now that you've filed your claim, what do you do next? We encourage you to read our notices and letters, respond to any electronic or mailed questionnaires, submit your weekly claims when appropriate, learn how to use your eServices account, and review our website for additional information. What do you do when you return to work full-time? You just stop submitting your weekly claims. Once you return to work, just stop turning in those weekly claims, and you'll know your claim will go quiet. It will go to sleep, so to speak. What if I don't know my exact start and end dates? Your estimated start dates are okay. However, the last day of work for your last employer needs to be accurate. When is my base year? The base year is the first 4 of the last 5 quarters. For example, if the start date of your claim is October through December 2020, your base year will be July of 2019 through June of 2020. Is there an alternate period of time that I can use? Only if you haven't worked enough hours during the regular base year. Then it could be possible to use the last 4 completed quarters. Can I use the alternate base year to get a higher paying claim? If you qualify for unemployment using your regular base year, you cannot use the alternate base year period of time. Is work search required when receiving unemployment benefits? Normally, yes, unless you have been approved for standby, are registered with a full referral union, or are in an approved training program. What are the work search requirements? It depends on your circumstances, but it is normally 3 contacts each week. What if I am denied standby? What does that mean? This means your request for standby has been denied and that you must meet work search requirements. This does not deny your benefits. It only impacts your requirement to look for work. What happens if my claim shows invalid or ineligible, but some of my employers are missing? As long as you informed us of those missing employers, we will attempt to get that corrected. Once we do, you will get another monetary notice. What do I do if my employer reported my hours or earnings incorrectly? You will need to tell us that. We will ask for documentation such as pay stubs or W-2s, and then we will attempt to get it corrected. Can I receive unemployment if my employer has reduced my hours or is paying me some or all of my salary? Yes, you can, but you must report the hours and earnings during the week that you do the work. Can I receive unemployment if my employer is paying me sick pay, holiday pay, vacation pay, or personal time off? Yes, but again, you must report the hours and earnings if it is attributable to the week that you are claiming. I have a second job or I work part-time at another job. Can I receive unemployment? Yes, it is possible. You will need to report your hours and earnings during the week that you are doing the work. Your earnings will determine if and how much unemployment benefits you may receive. Now, this was just a brief list of some of the questions some folks may have. We encourage you to check out our website at esd.wa.gov for additional frequently asked questions. There's a bunch of them on there, so I encourage you to check that website. We've already mentioned our website. Any kind of new programs, extended benefits, pandemic unemployment, or additional programs, we'll post information on our website at esd.wa.gov. You can also join or get a hold of live or recorded webinars from our website. You go to the Unemployment Insurance tab, and on the left-hand navigation links, there is one that says Benefits Webinars. So click on that link and you'll find any past or current scheduled webinars. We have 3 phone lines that may be of value to you. If you need assistance with setting up your eServices or SAW account, then call our technical support staff at 855-682-0785. They are currently taking calls Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. These staff that answer this line are not unemployment insurance specialists. Do not call that number needing unemployment information. They will not be able to assist you. However, if you do have an unemployment insurance question, then you'll need to call 1-800-318-6022. That phone line is currently open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. as well. However, that phone line may experience change in hours, so we encourage you to check our website for additional information. If you have an identity issue, you need to help get that resolved, then you need to call 1-800-246-9763. That deals with identity issues or fraudulent unemployment claims. Call those folks and they will get you some assistance. Again, we encourage you to check out reemployment services that are available through our WorkSource offices at www.worksourcewa.com, and they will be able to assist you with any reemployment and retraining needs that you may have. I hope that this information will help you navigate the unemployment system successfully. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.